Hey guys, let me welcome you to our next talk, which will be by Kilian Rausch. I don't know how to pronounce it correctly. By Kilian, yeah. So Kilian has some interesting background. If you read the description of the talk, you might be confused. There is so many different topics because Kilian did many interesting projects in his past. He did a wallet, and he lived in China for a few years. But now, for the past 2 years, am I right? He's working on something really cool. Can I say that?
Yes.
Which is decentralized exchange, and it's pretty cool because we all want decentralized exchange that really works. So I hope that will be it. And let me hand over to Kilian, our next speaker.
Thank you.
Oh, you got.
All right. Today I am going to present something which I really only managed to throw up like this week. So it's pretty new, it's pretty fresh, and it's pretty rough. So be patient. And it's called OPENDEX, and it's a protocol for unstoppable peer-to-peer trading. And I want to start with the why, so which is somewhat unusual order. So I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing. I want to start with the why we're doing what we're doing, what drives us, and what makes people like me get up every day in the morning and work on this. So why? Because I think our current financial system is essentially flawed. Who's with me here? I think I'm in the right place, right? I also believe that Bitcoin is the permissionless, unstoppable, and sound money that we're all longing for. Who's with me here? Problem solved. Bitcoin fixes this. Why am I even talking, right? Well, not really, or at least not entirely. Because I believe that the infrastructure that surrounds Bitcoin doesn't live up to this expectation of permissionless and for sure not unstoppable. It's quite the opposite, actually, because it resembles actually the infrastructure that we are used to from the traditional financial world. Because the vast majority of trading at the moment, as of today, is happening on so-called centralized exchanges. This is a good solution for one, and don't get me wrong, this presentation, what I'm going to talk about right now, is not about bashing exchanges. It's a good solution for a lot of people, actually, but it's not a good solution for all. Why not? Who can come up with reasons why this is not a good solution for all? KYC, very good. Holding a passport from a bad country? Well, you're out. Not allowed to open an account on my exchange. Syria, Iran. Or have an IP address, as simple as an IP address from a banned state, even within the United States, or from a hyper-regulated state. Anybody from New York City here? You're out. No proof of residence. You're out. Have a tainted address in your history of one of your UTXOs. Well, in the first place, you can open the account, but latest then, your money is frozen, your deposit is frozen, you're not allowed to use it, and you're out. Your government is of the opinion that you didn't claim or declare your capital gains tax correctly. Latest then, you're out. No fun with tax. Or, the most recent one, it would be funny if it wasn't that sad. Publish the Bitcoin wallet on GitHub. You're out. Unfortunately, this is indeed not a joke. I couldn't believe it. This is an upcoming amendment to the AML regulations of the United Kingdom, where the publication of open source software, such as non-custodian wallet software, other types of crypto asset, is suspect to AML regulation. You are responsible for doing AML due diligence for your Bitcoin wallet that you just published on GitHub. Prison scene of 2020. So the problem is simple here. Exchanges are the control room for our governments. Not your keys, not your coins, all right and all true. But I believe that the main counterparty risk that you're facing is actually not with the exchange itself. It's with your government. I've worked at an exchange before in China. Believe me, exchanges don't do this for fun. They don't have this KYC apparatus, this overhead, this team doing the KYC, actually looking at your funny passport selfies for fun. They're not watching, I've seen even nudes, it's weird. They're not watching every trade that you do on the system for fun or because they're run by evil CEOs. They do that because they're mandated to do so by their government. And it's actually their only way to survive. We have to understand them. Anybody in the situation of a CEO of an exchange with a lot of employees would do the same. It's the only way to survive is in the golden cage with the government. You do what I say, you report suspicious activity, you report users, suspicious users to me, and I'll let you operate and I'll let you have your business profits. How did we come to accept this? We of all people, how did we come to accept this? Having to go through de facto banks to trade our Bitcoin. It is banks. It's the enforcement arm of the government to push through their policies. I'm not sure, to be honest, but I'm sure that we should change that. So, how do we solve it? We offer a choice. A choice to trade on infrastructure that does not ask for any personal data. On top, does everything to prevent actually from leaking metadata, leaking any sort of additional data, which could be tracing or which could lead back to identifying you. An infrastructure that does not have any central points that could be censored, regulated by the government, or even be watched by the government, because there should be simply too many points to be watched. And all that, if we want adoption for this, if we want that to really work out, we cannot miss any of the convenience, of the speed, and especially of the liquidity of the current system. What does that mean? That means no middleman. Enable users to trade directly, peer-to-peer, without any central party, anywhere. No central party actually enables what we value in Bitcoin so much, the permissionless system. We don't need accounts, we don't need KYC, no personal data at all, and thus no censorship and also no discrimination based on your passport is even possible in the first place. No central party also enables unstoppable, because there's simply no place in the system that, if shut down, would cause the whole system to come to a halt. And I believe we should have one open protocol that covers everyone, that covers a lot of use cases. It shouldn't be specifically made for the Spanish-speaking population. It shouldn't be specifically made for individuals. It should cover institutions. It should cover anyone. And especially this protocol cannot come from one company, because again, this would be a central point to attack, a central point to regulate and to censor. It should come from a community, from a diverse community. So, what are we building here? OPENDEX, no surprise. OPENDEX is a community-run, open, decentralized exchange protocol for unstoppable peer-to-peer trading. And actually, we have a role model for that. The Lightning Network. Maybe many of you actually don't know. You've heard about the Lightning Network. Everybody's excited about the Lightning Network. I'm excited about the Lightning Network. But why is it actually successful? Why is the Lightning Network great? Well, in my opinion, it's because it has open protocol specifications. Sounds super boring, but these open specifications, the so-called bold specifications, which were years of hard work of very smart people coming together from different backgrounds, from different companies, working together hand in hand to create these specifications. This enabled, and it was a lot of emails on the Lightning dev list until this whole thing was actually set up, and it's ongoing to continue to improve these specifications. But this led to what we have right now, a very diverse ecosystem in the Lightning world. We have 8 implementations, 3 main ones, and some smaller ones coming up right now in Rust and in a lot of other different languages, and counting. So having one set of open protocol specifications enabled implementations to follow this protocol and to actually be compatible with each other. So that in the end, there is one Lightning network and not hundreds of Lightning networks. And the real benefit and the real strong point here is what's around the Lightning Network ecosystem is the strong, diverse community, simply because it doesn't belong to anyone. It doesn't belong to a company, or to a person, or to an entity. This is our vision. This is our role model, which we want to follow. The vision is to have one open set of protocol specifications, which is maintained by many. And in the future, hopefully, also enables many clients, many software implementations to run on this protocol, and for users and institutions to choose from, just like we have right now in Lightning. Some prefer C Lightning, some prefer LND, some run eClear. And this should not only be geared towards retail traders, individual traders like you and me, it should also work for companies which are building on top. And in the end, users have the choice if they want to use eClear on your phone, where you hold your private keys and you directly sign transactions and send transactions, or you use something like Blue Wallet, which takes over the handling of private keys for you and is actually a custodial wallet. This is exactly what we are enabling here as well by making it possible for institutions to build on top of it. So our goal in a nutshell is one global trading network and one global liquidity pool. Features. No central points, no middleman, we know that by now. No KYC, no personal data, pretty clear. Tor by default. Who knows what Tor is? Onion routing, okay, it enhances your privacy. No protocol token. A lot of other networks actually make this mistake by trying to force users to use a protocol token in their DEX. Famous example, 0x. It doesn't work. It simply doesn't work. It creates friction and it defeats the purpose because the network essentially belongs to one company. User control the keys. At least they have the choice to do so. And there's something, now we're getting into the details, local order matching. A lot of decentralized exchanges out there are, I would say, going out on a limb here, 99.9% are not decentralized exchanges. Because they're actually running one central point, which collects order information, or the relay or matchmaker, however you may call it. So decentralized exchanges, in my opinion, you should completely rename them into non-custodial exchanges, because that's what they are. But they are centralized. And regulation affects them. At the moment, they are small, they're flying under the radar, but in future, no IDEX, no relayer on 0x will be able to offer you trading without KYC, simply because they are a central company running a central service, and that's where the government come in. So what we want is called local order matching, where we are gossiping our orders and peers are gossiping their orders to us, and we collect all of them locally, or at least the ones we're interested in, and then we do the matching by ourselves, locally on your node, on your phone, on your computer. And we want instant order settlement. I was talking about the convenience and the speed of trading, which is a huge problem for decentralized non-custodial exchanges at the moment, is because they're doing the settlement on-chain, with on-chain transactions, which takes minutes best case, hours worst case, and costs a lot of gas and is not meaningful at all. We want instant order settlement in order to come as close to the trading experience we're having on centralized exchanges nowadays. What we want on top, little side topic, it was just important for me to say, we also want best practices for people developing implementations of the protocol to do client-side checks. Famous example is the recent vulnerability in the Lightning Network itself, CVE, I forgot the number, where all implementations actually did not properly check funding transaction of a channel. So basically, I could open a channel to you. We would do our transactions, and you would not properly check that you are able to actually claim money out of the channel when it's being closed. So you would not check the funding transactions properly. We need to have best practices for developers developing on this protocol how to build their clients securely. And here's how it works. We have Alice and Bob, and they're in a setup where they are running 2 of these nodes, and Bob has Bitcoin, and Alice has DAI, which is a USD stablecoin. Alice actually wants to buy 1 Bitcoin and is offering 8,000 DAI. Now, on a separate peer-to-peer layer, this order gets propagated into the network, broadcasted, and Bob received it. Now Bob has the need to sell 1 BTC for 8,000 DAI because he needs to pay some bills. This order then enters his local order book on his node and matches with the order of Alice. This is the full setup. So actually, they are not running only an, let's call it an OPENDEX compatible node. They're running even more. There's a much bigger software stack below. They're running also Lightning Network clients, in this case LND, and Raiden clients, which is something like the Lightning Network on top of Ethereum. And they are connected on these layers, on layer 2 as well, and have channels open to each other, or have some sort of route where they can send and receive payments from each other. What happens next is that Alice wants to settle the order and says, okay, we just matched, you told me about a match. I'll initiate the settlement by creating a so-called atomic swap, thinking of a secret, and this is just how the concept of atomic swaps, how it works. I think of a secret and encrypt my payment of 8,000 DAI to you with it. So that means this payment is somewhat there, it exists, but it didn't execute yet. You see, the DAI did not move yet, the coins did not move yet. But Bob can see in his Raiden client, okay, I have an in-flight, an incoming payment of 8,000 DAI. Okay, Bob says, I'm seeing someone is trying to pay me 8,000 DAI. I don't know the secret yet to decrypt the payment, but I know from the order information that I previously negotiated with Alice that I will get it if I set up a payment of 1 Bitcoin via the Lightning Network to Alice. And then Alice says, okay, I see incoming 1 Bitcoin. This is a payment I can redeem with the secret I previously thought for. So this payment of Bob, 1 step back, of 1 Bitcoin from Bob to Alice is encrypted in the same way that it unlocks with the same secret that Alice previously thought of. And then Alice says, great, that's the Bitcoin, that's the one that I want. Reveals her secret, starting with A5B, and settles the payment. And in this moment only, the Bitcoin actually moved from Bob's side of the channel to Alice's side of the channel. Now Bob is like, hey, thanks for the secret. Now with this secret, I can redeem my DAI payment on the Raiden channel. And the DAI moved as well. And there's nothing Alice can do to prevent Bob redeeming the DAI payment. So the secret is revealed. The Bitcoin and the Bitcoin on Lightning and DAI on Raiden payment is settled. And just a little side note here. This doesn't have to be a direct channel. It can route through any number of nodes. So if you somewhat have a channel and a route with enough capacity to support your trade, this works. Sounds like a daydream, right? Well, it is not. It's already working. Okay, I'm trying to demo this live. It's usually always a bad idea, but I will try nevertheless. Okay, when I'm running here on my computer, is an OpenDeX compatible node. It's called XUD, and it's developed by the company I'm working for since more than 2 years. We're already working on this. And I'm connected to a couple of other nodes in the network. And what I can now do is I type order book. As you can see, we're in the command line phase here. There's no beautiful UI yet. It's command line based. I can see the orders of other nodes in the network. For example, I can see here, okay, where is it? Bitcoin DAI. Well, that's the one I'm interested in, right? Someone is selling Bitcoin for 10,000 USD, obviously the price of next week. And I'm now able to buy this. First, let's check my balance to give you guys an overview of how much I have. So at the moment, I have 14 Bitcoin. I'm quite rich. Yeah. All right, now I say simply buy 1 Bitcoin for DAI for a price of $10,000 and hit enter. And this causes the order to go into my local order book and trigger the atomic swap, and it just swapped from my local computer here with the other guy. I have no idea where he's sitting, but probably not in the Czech Republic, in a matter of 2-3 seconds. This was the settlement that we saw before on the Lightning and then the Raiden network. And to prove that it worked, I say get balance again, and I have 1 Bitcoin more. Very proud to say this setup is available on mainnet since yesterday. That's why I was sitting very busy on this couch yesterday to get all the announcements out and stuff. But this works on mainnet as of now. We still have some per trade limits in there, $10 at the moment, because we don't trust ourselves that much yet. But it's working. So jump back to the presentation, 1 second. So all that's left to say is, let's opt out. Let's opt out of centralized trading. Let's opt out of KYC. And let's opt out of your government determining if you can trade, with whom you can trade, how much you can trade, what you can trade. Let's opt out of discrimination at all. Everybody's welcome. And let's build a real alternative to centralized trading with the same convenience, the same speed, and the liquidity. And for the liquidity, this is actually one of the main prospects and vision that we have with another company, is to actually bring exchanges onto this network as well, that exchanges can provide and use the liquidity in the network as well. And we need help. OpenDeX, literally, I just threw up the website, I think, on Tuesday. And we are 2 people, a friend and I. So we need help. So no matter if you are a developer, no matter if you are a technical writer, a community manager, or a trader that tests nodes, that gives feedback on the protocol, join us. Website is available here. I opened a Telegram group this morning. This is, I think, the website is in there. Join us, help us, spread the word. If you know people that are belonging to this group, especially technical writers, get them in there. The first draft of the P2P protocol specifications is online since this morning as well. So we're currently using the implementation that already exists that you saw running here, which is called XCD, developed by the company I'm working for, as like a template. This is where we derive the current protocol specifications from, and then build on top of that and improve from there. That's it. Thank you.
Hola. Thank you. Any question?
Thank you for the presentation. Have you thought also in the protocol or for the future about, let's say, the second use case of the centralized exchanges, and that is exchanging with the fiat?
Yes, very good question.
Can you elaborate, please?
Yes, yes. This is not solving the fiat on-ramp problem, obviously not. Fiat on-ramps, digital fiat on-ramps, will always require a central point and will, if it's not illegal, always require KYC. We are not solving that problem here. I have to be very clear on that. Sorry, I should have said that before, like very clearly. This is not solving it. But I believe in the future, where you have the choice of multiple fiat on-ramps. At the moment, I really don't want to know, but I'm guessing 90% of the euro against Bitcoin trading goes via Fido Bank in Germany. That is bad. We should have more choices to get our euros somehow into Bitcoin. I'm thinking of an approach like local Bitcoins, an approach where the fiat transaction itself actually goes from peer to peer. People have to, other companies, hopefully, maybe you want to start working on this, on innovative ways how to get from actual fiat, electronic fiat, into Bitcoin. We will not try to solve that. This is the protocol, so it basically assumes that you're somewhat in crypto already. It can be a stablecoin, it can be Euro stablecoin, USD stablecoin, it enables you to trade back and forth, but bank fiat is not solved here. They're pretty cool products though. I think they were released 2 weeks ago. One is from SparkSwap, a company from San Francisco, which enables you to run like a desktop client. And for the Americans among us, you can wire them via ACH some US dollars, and they will open a Lightning channel back to you and push over these amounts. So basically, you go from an ACH wire to an open Lightning channel that you actually can use, and I think that is also balanced in a matter of minutes. Second company is from Jack Mallers, SAP. They do similar thing. At the moment, a little bit restricted to the American market, but there will be more coming. So there will be more and more on-ramps coming, basically on the edge of the network, how you can get your fiat into Bitcoin.
Here.
Thank you for your talk. Can you talk a little bit more about front running and also about partial order?
Yes, both very important topics. Partial order filling works. I can even demo it if you want. So basically, it will just it will recognize in your local order book how much is available of the quantity, and then just swap that amount. And the rest of the order, it will enter it into the order book and broadcast it to the peers. So partial order filling perfectly works just like on a normal regular exchange. Second thing, front running, very valid topic. And I have to admit, our current peer-to-peer protocol is not running on Tor yet. The settlement layer is completely running on Tor. How nodes find and connect to each other is also running on Tor. But when messages traverse, you basically need a direct connection as of now, and this definitely has to change, and this is why we need help, where you can actually measure the time that a packet needs to a specific peer that you're connected with. And we have a GitHub issue open in our XOD repo, and someone started actually working on it, and there's a proof of concept implementation for that. It's called Tor, T-H-O-R. And this feature allows you to measure the ping times that I have with all my peers, and then take the longest one and basically delay sending all the other orders that I have in a way that they approximately arrive at all my peers at the same time. And this prevents front running. So we thought of front running. There's a proof of concept implementation there. If it works in practice, I have no idea, but the concept is there. And the basic principle we are following is I have to know how long information needs to travel from me to my peer. When I know that, I can delay the others to make it that all orders arrive at my peers at the same time. And then there's no very, very, very limited possibility of front running. Very good question. Paul, right?
Yes. So I was really interested in your goals of achieving the same level of performance and liquidity as centralized exchanges.
Yes.
But given that you're running all of the order matching locally per client,
Yes.
I'm wondering if you've done any measurements as to how much bandwidth would be necessary to keep an up-to-date order book on a local client-side device, especially like on a phone, just because order matching engines are the thing that even the centralized exchanges struggle with to have at very high performance.
Yeah, we did not run any real-world tests on that so far. Reason for that is we wanted to make it work first. And the second reason is I think you will create your own little few of orders that you're interested in. I think it's not realistic that you will have the world's orders on your phone and that your local matching engine in your phone does matching with the world's orders. I think it's more realistic that you have used the ping measurement function that we have to actually only receive orders from peers that are close to you or close enough to you that you actually have a chance to be there in a reasonable time and fill the order. You will only receive it for order pairs you're actually interested in. All these ERC20 to ERC20 pairs, you might not even want to see them, right? So you will filter the order book like in an extreme way so that you narrow it down to a couple of hundreds of orders actually. And then even low-end devices should be able to make it. To answer your questions, no, we didn't do any performance tests on that yet. It's definitely not working on a phone. You need to, especially to run mainnet actually, you need a quite beefy computer because you need an Ethereum full client for that, and that's not fun to set up. And so with these beefy computers, it works. Like a couple of hundreds of orders, a couple of thousands of orders we tested, that works. We didn't go any further than that.
Another question about scalability. So is it, I guess I'm in competition with other people trying to grab that same order. So if I see an order I want, so question about scalability, I mean, is there a problem that I can always just basically never execute because I keep getting
definitely
beaten to the order by my peers? Whereas in a centralized plot, I'm just in a queue and sooner or later
Exactly. That definitely can happen. As it is designed right now, it probably, let's say by tomorrow, you all start syncing mainnet nodes, and by tomorrow we have 500 users, probably this will happen to you. So the protocol is not prepared for that yet, and that needs to change. How I envision it, how it will become is that you have different trading strategies, that you will not go for the optimum of the order book, for peers, where you see where they're coming from. You know this order is from this peer. I now have a ping time of 200 milliseconds to this peer. It is not realistic that I, among all people, will actually get that order. So the different trading strategies actually help you to go for an order that is realistic, that you realistically can get. So this is not the thing you want to use if you're looking for the best market price beating the rest of the market. Because you're not competing with the rest of people of Kraken, you're competing with the rest of the world. So you want to use this as a spot trader to exchange for a given price, let's say 10,000 USD, and there's a huge offer of 10,000 USD for one Bitcoin in the system. That's where you want to use our system, where you can exchange. High frequency traders, I mean, think about it. This system can never be as fast as a centralized system. It's as simple as that. It's physics, it's distance between nodes. So we probably have to work with certain trading strategies where you go for different orders than others. We have probabilities of how likely it is. Yes.
Can you explain in more detail how the atomic swap itself and actually the exchange of the secret is done so that it can be completely trustless?
Yeah. So that's the very reason why this whole secret revealing process exists, in order to make it trustless. It is not very different from a regular Lightning transaction, actually, where in a Lightning transaction, actually, the secret is created by the receiver, then hashed. An invoice is created, and me as a sender, I pay this invoice. And then the payment can be revealed, can be executed by revealing the secret. It's the same principle. So we have a very strict protocol, and where in our protocol, there's always a maker and a taker, right? So someone is always first. And the protocol knows how to determine that. So people have to agree, I'm the maker, you're the taker. It's always the taker doing actually the first payment. So in that case, actually, Alice is doing the first payment. And Alice is the taker is always the one who controls the pre-image, who thinks of the pre-image, hashes it, stores it away, and then encrypts the payment of 8,000 DAI with this hash to Bob. It's always like this, it never changes. And then Bob knows that if he creates another payment with this particular hash, and that means this payment can be decrypted with the very same secret that Alice previously used, sending it back, and then Alice is able to successfully actually make this payment execute by revealing the image. And by revealing the image, just as a technical detail here, when Alice reveals the image on the Lightning channel here, Bob automatically knows. Just take it as that, right? So Bob automatically gets the secret from Alice in the moment she reveals it on this channel. And then Bob can just go and input it here, basically fill in the blank of the DAI payment to make it execute as well. So in one sentence, how is it trustless? It is trustless because both payments are cryptographically bound together by using the one same secret that makes them execute. So we set them up first, we set the payments up first, and then once the secret is really revealed, both execute simultaneously, so to speak.
Only Alice knows the secret, right?
Sorry?
Only Alice knows the secret.
Alice knows the secret, exactly. Kind of clear? So, yeah.
Really, is there any good explanation online of this?
Yeah, I made hundreds of slides regarding this. I can send them over to you. Yeah.
Okay, another question. We discussed the feature of the centralized exchanges as, also for the fiat money, but there is another critical aspect of those centralized exchanges, that is, say, working with the OTC transactions. Have you addressed that also, or have you elaborated? For the others, do you know OTCs, over the counter?
Yes, I know, but I didn't really think about it, but I have trouble to really applying it here. Because what OTC means is it's one central place I can go and I can get a guaranteed price for a huge amount of money. That's how I translate OTC.
There's a secondary aspect of this feature, and that is that this transaction actually the willingness to do the trade is not put onto the trade book, basically.
It's like a private way of doing that.
So I would call it infamous, though, because it actually, it is not reflected on the market, basically. So it's heavily used by the funds.
What you can do, I'm just improvising here, right? What you can do is, if you want to have something like a dark pool kind of functionality for having like large orders to execute via the network without affecting the price because people don't know about it, right? You could do that by selecting the peers that you want to be able to decrypt your order information. So on default, each order information is actually encrypted in a way that only the peers I'm connected to can decrypt and read my order information. So what you could do is, you could select the peers that are able to read your order information, and you will only be able to trade with these and execute with these peers. All the rest of the network does not know about your order at all, period. That's what you could do and try to execute a large order, I would say. But it's a bit of manual work by selecting which peers can see it, which peers cannot. But having it completely in the dark is not really possible because you can only trade with people if people know what you want to trade. That's a little bit of the thing.
For example, you choose. So you choose which one to see the amounts that you want to trade. So it's like a private channel, something?
Kind of. This is in a separate layer. So we have 3 layers here. Number 1, let's call it the on-chain layer, layer 1. Bitcoin full node, Litecoin full node, Geth full node, horrible by the way. Then we have layer 2, where we have LND, a Lightning client, and Raiden, the Raiden client to open channels on the Ethereum network. And then we have layer 3, this thing here, OPENDEX. And OPENDEX has a separate peer-to-peer layer where order information is exchanged. So yes, if you restrict the order information to will be read by the certain people you want to be able to read, it's like a private channel, only the counterparty knows. That's what I tried to describe for the OTC. Yeah.
Any other question? Right here.
Yeah. So this seems like very complementary to something like BISC, which is kind of, I think they got their start with fiat and Bitcoin. It's not quite an atomic swap for obvious reasons, but they've since moved into crypto to crypto. I think this, I mean, if you're looking for, client developers and such, I mean,
probably
you might
right
want to talk to them.
To.
Yeah. I think this could be really a really cool tool to have for them as a way to do atomic swaps, at least for their crypto to crypto pairs.
Yeah.
But I do have a question. So So with the order book is, did you say it's a broadcast? It's a global broadcast, so kind of everyone's seeing all of the orders, and you said you could potentially even restrict it down to specific pairs that you're interested
choose one.
in?
It's like to all or to pub key 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what you can do. As of now. Maybe there are more ways to restrict it somehow. But yeah.
And so like right now, with a Lightning wallet, I have a Lightning wallet. It's non-custodial, but I don't have to run a full node. There's some node running in the cloud. I think it might even be an SPV client. Have you thought about the potential of users not having to run full nodes necessarily, but maybe using?
Of course, it's a pain in the ass.
Using SPV or
yes,
connecting to a trusted node somewhere?
Yes, definitely. That's one of the next steps in order to increase the UX of that whole system. At the moment, it's full nodes because it's the obvious choice. It's for the real self-sovereign individual who wants to run full nodes.
Good place to start.
Good place to start, exactly. That's where we are right now. As I mentioned, it went live yesterday, right? But the next step will be use your existing full node. Maybe some of us are already running Bitcoin full nodes, a Lightning Bitcoin full node combination. You will be able to reuse this one. By the way, it's regular LND 0.7.1. 0.7.1 has all the features we need to do our secret reveal atomic swap thing. Raiden the same. We worked for months with the Raiden team to include all the secret reveal and injection function into Raiden in order to do that as well. So you will be able to use your official Raiden client, official Geth client, and official stack. On top of that, of course, it should also work with Light client, and it will. Neutrino for LND, and there's also a Light client for Raiden. Worst case, connect to Infura. I really don't recommend it, but that's the simplest way to get up and running with a Light client on the Ethereum network. So yes, we thought about it, and it will be possible.
Great, thank you so much.
Quick question, what's your business model? It sounded like you developed this inside a company, so...
So there are two things to it. So OPENDEX is a community. It's not a company. There's no business model. I'm doing that on Saturday evenings, Tuesday nights, whenever I have time with a friend of mine. That's why we need help. We need urgent help because we don't have the bandwidth to do that next to our day-to-day jobs. Then there's a company which actually developed the first working implementation of this protocol and actually where the protocol comes from. So we did code up the protocol first and then started writing the specifications as of now with OPENDEX. It's called Exchange Union. That's what I work for, and there's a business model. The business model is selling services on top of this. This can be, for example, opening a Lightning channel to you, so that you're requesting a balanced Lightning channel to you to get you up and running with one deposit, so that you don't have to manage opening a channel yourself, for example. So the business model is basically selling services on top of it. But that's not OPENDEX. OPENDEX is a non-profit community.
One more question. Okay, the last one.
So is there a possibility to make fake orders, or do they contain like a cryptographic proof that you actually own the coins, and are they verified by every node?
Yeah. Client-side wise, yes, but of course you can just change the code and make the checks code disappear, right? So we have checks in place where we don't allow you to enter an order if you don't have a Lightning channels open with minimum disk capacity, right? So this is a local check. But there's just simply no way for another node to verify that you actually have this outgoing capacity in order to support the amount that you traded. So yes, there's a way to fake orders. Very interesting topic, though. There's not only fake orders, there's a lot of other fake things that you can do in a permissionless system like this. And I believe the answer to that is actually something called reputation. Reputation not associated to your name, don't be afraid. Reputation associated to your public key. So your public key is your one and only identifier in this whole network. And it should have a reputation score attached, at least for you locally. You can say, okay, I received 1 fake order, 2 fake orders, 3 fake orders from this very pub key. Probably this guy is doing some malicious stuff. I give him some negative reputation score. Next time I enter an order, it's less likely that you will trade with this particular pub key. In order to really get through with that, the only thing that we need to ensure is that creating a public key is expensive. that someone cannot just come up with new public keys all the time in order to actually mitigate that. So there will be probably a combination of creating a node which creates a public key, and with you having to deposit some security deposit into some sort of smart contract which is associated with your public key. Other nodes then can verify that you indeed did deposit this amount of, I don't know, DAI or ETH into a smart contract which is linked to your public key. Once you have that, say, okay, this public key is expensive, I start doing reputation with this guy. So this is kind of the way forward how to deal with these attacks. You cannot prevent them. They will happen. The only thing you can do is you can limit the trading activity you have with malicious people.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Kilian, for your presentation.
Thank you.